Well, hello everyone. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being here for Living Paranormally with me, your host, Paranormal Pixie. And so, this week, gonna just kind of keep to the basics that we usually do. I'm gonna light our candle. I actually had my bell to do a little bit of sound clearing with. I found out after having a conversation with my husband that when I am saging or smudging, we need to figure out something for the airflow because it was actually giving him some nasty headaches. So we're going to hold off on that. I do have my spray. I have, these are locally made um, uh, sage spray, and I have one that's from an artisan out of Albuquerque. It's a Palo Santo mist. And I can use both of these, but for the streaming purposes, if I'm sharing that clearing energy with you, I'd be spraying my screen. And, I might spray my camera. So I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm hoping that everyone has had a good week. The weather here in the mountains has started to turn a little bit colder. Not super cold, but as opposed to being in the 90s, low 90s, mid 80s, we're getting up to the mid 70s, low 80s during the day, and getting down below 60 at night. So the fall weather is definitely right around the corner. Was driving in town just a few days ago, and the leaves even were, you could see just little pops of color where the leaves were starting to change. Um, I'm really actually kind of looking forward to the fall weather. I like that time of year where I can put on a light sweater and feel that comfy, cozy feeling without being too cold or too hot. Um, and I think there's a lot of us out there that like that. And we've got the equinox, the autumnal equinox, just around the corner, 22nd, I believe. And so, we'll be officially in fall season. And I know a lot of you, especially with places like the spooky stores opening up already, have gotten the Halloween bug, and it's a fun time of year. This time of year, I still go back to the traditions of um, honoring the harvest first before going into Halloween. So, that last week of September, I've got a fly in here that's bothering me. That last week of September, and then into the first week of October, I'll start decorating with more harvest related items. I'll get like some of the tiny pumpkins. I just love those. They're so cute, and I'll put those around the house. Um, we have farmers market that sells the um, rainbow corn. So the mini ears of corn that the kernels are all the different rainbow colors, and I'll usually get like three or four of those, and maybe take some autumn leaves and whatnot and put them together and make a little decoration for my front door. Um, but then early October, my husband and I start getting that bug for, okay, we want to get into spooky season, and so we'll start putting up decorations outside to let the kids know that, you know, if they want to come trick or treating, they can come by our house. Um, so yeah, let's get things started. I am going to, I brought out this is my lilac candle. And tonight I wanted to light our candle and pull in harmony. You know, harmony, there's lots of ways to think about it. It's balance. It's that subtle dance that nature does between um, the flowers and the bees that take the pollen and then pollinate other flowers and then go back to the hive and feed the hive and create honey. And then in turn, that life cycle, that harmony comes back in spring to come back and start again with the fresh flowers that grow. So harmony and harmony in all the ways that we each need to find it with our decisions, with our daily lives, with how we interact with each other and how we interact with nature. Um, so tonight, I light our candle for harmony for each and every one of us in all its ways, shapes, and forms. And may our guides, our guardians, our angels, those that watch over us in love and light only, help us find that harmony. So, in keeping with our tradition, I pulled stone cards, just intuitively pulled them before the stream. And for tonight, the first one that I pulled, and I may have to adjust my lighting in here for winter because it's a little dim. So the first one I pulled is bloodstone. And I've got a palm stone here, the small one that's bloodstone. And get it so you can see there. So you can see that it's mostly green. It's got little speckles of red. It's got little speckles of white. And so what you're looking at is red and green jasper, and then it's quartz. It may sometimes, like this one on the back side, I don't know if I can get the camera to show it, but this one on the back side has little bits of pyrite in the matrix. Sometimes you'll even see it with a little bit of chlorite. Um, Occasionally, you'll even see it where it has a little bit of like tourmaline, um, tourmalinated um, bloodstone, because it'll grow tourmaline sometimes in the matrix of where the quartz is at. And so with bloodstone, it's a perfect stone for healing of any kind. It strengthens the root chakra and promotes closure and healing in emotional situations. It gives you the confidence to face challenges and instills the courage to move forward. It carries encouraging and comforting energy. Bloodstone is a healer across both the physical and spiritual planes. Its affirmation is, I am worthy of healing, mind, body, and spirit. And here's its card. Sorry about the glare there. There we go. You know, bloodstone, I find if I'm going through emotional stress, is a good one I like to carry. Um, when I'm having major pain issues, um, I might either keep it in my pocket so that I can touch it, or like in the case of my spine, um, before and after, excuse me, I had my back surgery. I have a little uh, piece of bloodstone that I put between the mattress and the mattress pad. So it would be in the area of my back where I was having the most pain. And whether it's psychosomatic or supernatural, um, it did seem to help. So, keep bloodstone in mind if you are needing that kind of healing and gentle support. So the next card that I pulled is one that we've had many times before. And, again, these are intuitively pulled. So petrified wood. And I absolutely love this little piece that I got. I really love petrified wood and how the minerals have deposited in such a way that you can see the tree that once was. And I'll hold this one up close so you can get a good look at it. So you can see what would have been the rings of the tree. And then you can even on this one see what would have been the texture of the bark. And one of these days, I'm going to find myself, I'd like to get like a charging plate, maybe a slice about 6 inches or so in diameter that I can use. So, petrified wood holds the power of the earth, bringing that life force into connection with your own. It resonates with the Earth Star chakra, connecting you to ancestral and ancient wisdom. Petrified wood is a stone of grounding, protection, patience, spiritual transformation, and past life recall. It is also useful for accessing, I can't speak tonight, for accessing the Akashic records. Its affirmation is my roots run deep and I am connected to all. I embrace transformation and harness ancient wisdom. So whether it's you're wanting to maybe connect more to your past lives, um, you're wanting to tap into that ancient wisdom of whether it be your ancestors or maybe it's the ancestors of where you live. Um, you know, petrified wood is a good one for that. I like just keeping it around because I also find it extremely grounding. It's one of the most grounding stones out there. And helping with that connection to the earth and that reminder that um, we can transform like this tree that was alive hundreds of thousands of years ago that is now transformed into stone. We too transform and can be transformed in those ways. So let me hold up its card and get it there. There we go. So now it doesn't have the reflection. So that's petrified wood. Then our last card, I know we've had a few times. Again, it was one I was drawn to pull in. And that one is moonstone. And I happen to pull out this wonderful little piece of moonstone I bought. Hello, Tiger. He's going to join us. I bought this with the idea of either making it into a pendant or perhaps placing it on a wand. I want to start making wands again, and so let me see if I can get it where you start to get some of that beautiful flash. This one has really, really nice. There we go. Got a little bit of it there. Blue flash. So moonstone, and moonstone you'll see, and see if I've got a different piece close by. Um, Moonstone will often have a lot of black tourmaline in with it. So you'll get these areas, of the brilliant white, the quartz, feldspar, the moonstone, that have wonderful rivulets and speckles of black, and that is tourmaline, which we all know is protecting and grounding. Moonstone draws down the magic of the moon. It is especially potent during the full moon, with an emphasis on completion, fruition, and gratitude. It reminds you to be grateful for your current blessings and helps bring your visions and dreams to life. Its affirmation is, I celebrate my manifestations and receive my blessings. And there's its card. And when I think on Moonstone and what it emphasizes to me is its connection to the soul star chakra, the higher self, our connection with that higher self, with our angels, with our guides. Oftentimes, those of us that are psychics, mediums, seers, knowers, will like to work with Moonstone because it sort of helps as a key to open that channel and allow it to be clearer, flow easier. So, and that's its card right there. So I'm going to set these all next to our candle. And so a couple of weeks ago, I bought a new deck, and I didn't get to show you much of it, but I showed it briefly. It was the Everyday Witches Familiars Oracle. And so what I thought I'd do tonight, because honestly I'm a little bit off. Um, we've got some strange energy going on right now. And so I feel called to maybe pull two or three cards from this deck and see what the animal spirits of these familiars have to say to us. And as part of that, I wanted to talk to all of you about what it means to have a familiar, to have an animal that is a familiar. So for myself, the first time I truly experienced that was actually right after my husband and I got married. Before we were married, while I was living with my girlfriend, I had adopted a sweet little girl, my first black cat. Um, she was actually the last of her litter, and because she was black, nobody wanted her, which just frustrates me no end. But it is what it is. Some superstitions were wrong and die hard. Um, this being, and this gnat is going to drive me crazy, this being, heading into spooky season, I want you to keep in mind, if you've got a black cat or even a black and white cat, to pay particularly close attention to keeping them safe because while, um, you know, accidents can happen and so on, there are those people out there that would do bad things. Um, there's a lot of different shelters around the nation that will actually ban adoption of black cats from like mid-October to early to mid-November simply because they don't want bad things happening to them. Um, Oftentimes, you can get around that if you're adopting and you know that they are, um, or they know that you are going to, be a responsible pet parent. And I've got a visitor, and I don't know if he's going to come up, but speaking of familiars, his gig, well, he just came in to see what was going on. He is my latest familiar. So the familiar that I wound up with, when my husband and I got married, we actually spent a few months living together before we did to make sure, because we'd both been previously married, that we were both going to be comfortable with it. We'd been dating for 2 years, so we knew we were deeply in love. Um, but we'd never occupied the same house at the same time for extended periods of time. And to be honest, that can be a deal breaker for some people. And we didn't want to, A, jeopardize what we already had, um, and end up without a friendship. So the kitty that I had came with me when I moved from Albuquerque to Los Alamos. And my husband at the time had three kitties of his own. Unfortunately, his oldest female, um, she was very territorial, and so she was just terrorizing her. My little girl was named Star. Star of Isis was her whole name, but we called her Star. And so when we eloped, yes, I eloped with my husband. My mother, she actually came to visit, and it was under the premise that she was going to cat sit for us, and that when she left, she was going to adopt Star because she didn't have any kitties and had been wanting to get one, and it would be a right fit. We already knew she'd met her before; they were going to get along. So we eloped, called my mom from, we got married in Sturgis, South Dakota during the bike rally, during Sturgis Bike Week. Um, Celebrated over the phone, celebrated in person when we got home. And she went home with Star. My husband could tell I was sad. So we talked it over and went to the shelter that following weekend after we got home to see if they had any kittens for adoption. Lo and behold, they had two little boys that were both about 8 weeks old. And we walk in, my husband turns and he goes over and he picks up one, this sweet little black and white cow cat. And I turn around with the solid black one that had a little white star on his chest. And to me, that was a sign, the star. And when I held him, he immediately gazed at me straight in the eyes. And if you know cats and you're a cat person, you know that oftentimes they won't look you straight in the eyes right away unless they either are defending their territory or there's a connection. And he looked at me straight in the eyes, and then he started reaching out his paws and kneading on me. So, of course, I turn around. I've got this little black kitten purring and kneading on my chin, and he's got the little black and white boy, and he's purring away in Brian's hands. We knew that we couldn't split them up. So we said, okay, we'll take them both. We actually had both of them until they were ripe old age. Nutter, which is what I named the little boy, the solid black one. We named him Nutter. I also called him Nadir sometimes. I found out later that that was part of his soul name. Nadir um, in Persian means golden eyes. He had the most beautiful gold eyes. But I called him Nutter, Nudd apostrophe R, because he was a Nutter black cat. Because between my husband and I, he would have been the sixth black cat that we had had in our family. Nutter lived to be 14 years old, and as a familiar, he could sense my emotions and my energies like a well trained emotional companion animal. If I was sad, he would come over and work his way up and climb up onto my chest and nuzzle into my neck and purr until I stopped crying. Um, if I was excited or happy, he tail in the air, he would be bouncing around and bringing me toys to throw for him to play with. And when I was in pain because of the fibromyalgia, he would either lay beside me or lay with his paws crossed and his head across my thigh and purr softly and keep me company because he knew that it was painful for me to even have anything touching any part of my upper body. Um, I I still miss him. He passed at 14. He had a series of grand mal seizures, and he actually died in my arms on our way to the vet. Um, to this day, I think that still is the worst day of my life. Was the day that happened. I can talk about it now, and while it's very emotional, um, I don't cry as much. I will still cry sometimes when I think about him. But having that emotional connection to another non human living being that is beyond words, that's what a familiar is. We've got all these wonderful fairy tales and stories and legends and lore about, like the witch's familiar and that it was her um, otherworldly companion to allow her to do dark magic and so on and so forth. And while I can't say for certain if those legends and lore are true, to a modern day witch, I think they're much more than that. So, with that said, any animal can be a familiar. It could be a bird, it could be a rat, it could be a cat, a dog, a wolf, a hawk. They can be that trusted companion that knows you, that knows when you need that friendship, that knows when you need that companionship, that watches over you. Think about, while part of it is their keen senses and sense of smell. There are dogs and cats that, they know when someone, maybe they're starting to have a seizure. They can detect those subtle differences. But then they also know what to do to help you, how to help calm your nerves, help call for help, how to protect you from danger, from strangers. Um, the next closest that I had to a familiar previous to Nutter was actually the wolf hybrid that I had with my first husband, who stayed with him because she was bonded to him. But she knew when someone was not of good energy. I can recall a time where we had her camping with us, and there were lots and lots of people coming in and out, visiting our camp. It was a big event, lots of people. And there was one particular person that she'd never met. She didn't know him from anybody. But the instant that he started to walk towards our tents, walk into the camp, nefarious or not, she was at the end of her chain. And she didn't growl, but she didn't move. And she locked eyes with him. And he's like, can I come into the camp? No. Um, we'll come out there to you. And I walked forward and I said, because one, I was uncomfortable with this person. But I was polite and said, she obviously is uncomfortable with you here. And rather than put anyone in harm's way, it's probably best that, you know, you don't come in. And he nodded and walked away. And again, it was that sense of, she could sense his energy and that we needed protected. So I'm going to draw 3 cards. First card. Okay, it says go down. That one. Okay, I'm supposed to shuffle just a little bit more, and I apologize for going a little bit slow. And what do we have here? Okay. So let me get our book. Now this is going to be interesting. I'm going to have to switch glasses because the text on these is really small. And I'm going to actually take this to a photocopier and blow it up. But Our first card for tonight is a card. Now, each of these cards has associated um, a number, an element, and then the animal itself. So this is Earth. Its number is 8, and it is the monkey. Okay, so let me go to the deck book here. And so Earth, number 8, monkey. The one thing I will say I like about it, the way it's sectioned out, and I don't know if you can see this, the edge of the book, you can actually see when you start to flip through the pages, the color of the element. And so, earth element is green, and it's the number 8 card. And so, here we go. Okay, monkey. So, monkeys are humans' closest relatives in the animal world, but our paths diverged many thousands of years ago. Still, we have much in common. The monkey represents creative problem solving. Capuchin monkeys, in particular, have developed multiple ways of using rocks as tools, including cracking nuts and tossing stones as a form of flirtation. While that last one probably isn't a good idea for most people, monkeys can inspire us to be creative and use whatever we have to achieve our goals. In its divination, this card suggests that it's time to get creative about dealing with whatever issues are facing you. If what you've been doing isn't working, try looking at things from a different angle or approaching the problem in a completely different way. Maybe you will realize that what you thought was a problem is actually a potential tool for, for change if you can be flexible enough. Its message is this card could mean that you aren't using all the tools at your disposal, or maybe you're not using them to their best advantage. Every problem has a solution. You just have to come up with the one that works for you. It's probably simpler than you think. What assets that do you have that you're not using? And why aren't you using them? So if you look, you can see this capuchin monkey has the pestle from the mortar and pestle, and it looks like it's going to be using them to open something. Now, the other thing that I get on deeper intuition with this card is that connection to earth, that nature. He's in an apothecary full of herbs, full of spices, and perhaps whatever problem that the collective is facing is one that maybe you need to go back to the old ways and the apothecary ways and look at herbal medicine. You know, go to your local herb store and see what's available that say maybe you're having anxiety. What's good for anxiety? Or maybe you're needing something for allergies. What's good for allergies? In my case, actually, first thing I go for if it's allergies is I go for a little local honey because the honey from the pollinators in your area is actually going to help your immune system. So that's the monkey. The next card that I pulled Again, very nature-based. But this one is one of air. Its card number is 6, and it is the monarch butterfly. Beautiful card. I just love the artwork on the cards. The artist actually did a wonderful job with these. So air. Air is, there we go. Air is the next section, and it's card number 6. 6, butterfly. Okay, so the monarch butterfly is a vital pollinator who is dependent on the milkweed plant, which is where it lays its eggs and is the only food for the monarch larvae. These majestic butterflies migrate every year, traveling tremendous distances to mate and lay their eggs, defying the odds that drive and their drive to survive. They are a symbol of hope and faith, and the very sight of them can lift our hearts. Very true. Divination of this card may be telling you to hold on no matter what you're going through. It may seem as the odds are stacked against you, but you need to have faith that you will come out of it okay in the end. Sometimes all we have to hold on to are hope and faith, but those can be powerful enough to carry us through the distance and the difference and difficult time and challenges on gossamer wings. The message of this card, the monarch, seems fragile and delicate, but it persists in its journey despite everything that life throws its way. You can tap into the power of hope to keep yourself going when things look dark. Reach for the light. Look for the things that will bring and feed your spirit. Are you focusing on the positive or dwelling only on the negative? It's easy to lose faith if the world and yourself, in the world and yourself, but it is worth the effort to stay as positive as possible. So again, how are you like the monarch? I consider the monarch to be a very powerful spirit animal, familiar. It speaks to transformation as well. The monarch butterfly lays its eggs that become the larva, and the larva consume the milkweed and then spins a chrysalis and completely transforms, shedding its old self and becoming something completely new and different, but it's still the same being. So how can you be like the monarch? The last card that I drew is another card of air. Its number is 8, and it's not one you would necessarily think of as an air element animal or creature, and it's the spider. So let me flip to its page and read what it says and its message. So, the spider is able to create complicated webs with the silk It spins out of its own body. It is patient, agile, and fast. And the webs themselves are surprisingly strong for such delicate seeming structures. While many people are uncomfortable with them, spiders are actually useful and, with a few notable exceptions, harmless. The spider has been featured in numerous myths, including the Greek story of Athena and Arachne, and the West African story of the trickster god Anansi. They represent creativity because of their beautiful webs, of which no two are ever alike. In its divination, if you get the card of the spider, the universe is likely telling you to get creative, to think outside the box, if you will. And only you know which creativity can take different forms, and only you know which one is right for you. Writing, painting, pottery, music, and even practical approaches like carpentry. Whatever creative endeavors attract you, now is the time to put your heart and soul into them. Its message, creativity like spider webs, is completely individual. Are you allowing your inner muse to shine, or are you finding excuses like lack of time or ideas to cramp your style? Do you own a thing? And don't let anyone, not even your inner critic, which is often our toughest or tougher than anyone from the outside, tell you it isn't good enough. Been guilty of that. Still do it, but also try to see it through someone else's eyes. Practice until you get better or play around for fun. Creativity feeds the soul. What are you doing to feed your soul? How are you being creative? How are you finding ways to weave your own story, to weave your own web? How are you honoring those around you that maybe they're a little scary and they're a little different, but they actually do some good? During the winter time, and I know some people will go, "Mm," and that's perfectly okay. I honor and respect that. There are um, house spiders, brown house spiders, that they will actually come in, and I will get a few periodically that will make webs up in the corners. And they haven't started coming in with cold weather yet, or I wouldn't have a gnat flying around in my room because they take care of the pests. Um, Cloth moths, perfect example. They will actually help get rid of cloth moths in your house and keep them from destroying your fine clothes, your wools, so on. So, how are you being creative, thinking outside the box with your tools, allowing that creativity to flow and transform your life in what you're doing? And don't be afraid of failure, because the only real failure happens when you don't try at all. When you're speaking to something like this, say for instance, if I was teaching an art class and someone was intimidated by the art project that's been set before them, I will look at them and tell them, you know what? Make something that's meant to fail. Make something that I just don't care about because I'm going to break it afterwards. I know that it's going to be broken at the end and let it fail. So maybe you're painting and okay, I don't care. It's going to be broken. I'm going to just throw paint it and throw paint at the canvas and let it flow and let it go and let the colors land where they may. But before you destroy it, you show it to one person and then listen to their honest opinion of what they see in that art. And then ask that person, will you help me destroy it? And then you're going to take it out and you're going to either, whether you cut it up or if it's pottery, you take it outside, you throw it against a brick wall, and you let it shatter into a million pieces. You break it. You have allowed that creative process to happen. That process is healing, it's nurturing, it allows for thinking outside the box, for finding those creative solutions to problems. Okay, if I'm going to attach this thing on this side of this piece of clay, how am I going to make it stay? Um, and just work through the puzzle of putting it together with the intent that it's okay because it's going to be broken. In myth and folklore, um, you would actually, as somebody that makes pottery, um, oftentimes you would either A, leave imperfections in that piece of pottery, or in that, say, you're making a dozen pieces, you would make one that was to be a sacrifice, if you will, to allow Coyote, the coyote spirit, uh, to escape, um, so that the rest of it would not be wrecked or lost, um, and would go on to serve their purpose, whatever function that may be. Um, Bead workers, you'll often find, especially in indigenous jewelry, you'll see like maybe one red bead in a band of turquoise. That is meant again so that you're not angering the gods. You're um, also embracing that even the imperfect can have its or yeah, even imperfection can be perfection in its own way. So, with that said, we're getting close to the hour mark. Um, I am going to be setting up a new calendar. I actually got a new calendar book for myself. If I can get a hold of it here. This is a brand new planner. And it's great because not only does it have the full days, but I also have, daily schedules. And so as of the, see, today being September 17th, I believe, the 8th, okay, September 19th. So as of the 26th, So it'll be next Thursday. I'm going to be opening up 2 days a week where I will book afternoon into early evening, 1 hour. It can be a video call. It can just be a telephone call. Um, Readings where, say, for instance, maybe you are wanting to get some spiritual insight on, uh, you're thinking about making a move, moving to a new place or applying for a new job, and so on, or needing a little bit of spiritual guidance, how to work with your angels, your guides, or so on. If you're wanting to do mediumship led uh, readings, where I help you try to connect to and get messages from your loved ones, I'll be booking those starting 26th. I'm going to do them on, right now, I'm going to do them on Monday afternoons and on Wednesday afternoons. Now, that schedule may change in the fall because I don't know when Sarah is going to be opening it up. She's going to be teaching um, Reiki classes, energy healing, and I want to get recertified in Reiki practitioner. So I may change that. But at this point in time, those 1 hour sessions, it's going to be $60 for a 1 hour session. If you want just a 30-minute session, that's going to be $35. And I'm more than happy to, we can break that up however you need. I'd really like to work with more of you. I'd like to be able to use my abilities and my gifts. If you would like a consultation, we can do a consultation discussion via Messenger. We can just do it as a chat, or we can do it as a video consultation. You can contact me through my email at lady.dreamweaver at att.net. You can contact me through socials, Facebook and Instagram under Laura Sandling Bennett. Make sure it's my current photo of me with the orange dress, and not the old one where I'm wearing a beret. That's an old account on Facebook that I can't seem to make them get rid of. I got locked out of it a year and a half ago, and it won't go away. But that said, I would absolutely love to work with all of you. I also know that Gemma, now that school is going to be starting, is going to be opening up more of her reading sessions. Again, her prices, I believe, are around the same price. I'm trying to keep mine comparable. I don't want to be competition to her. I want to be complementary to her. So if you feel more confident and comfortable with Gemma, please do not hesitate to book with her. I do not take offense to it, as I know she doesn't take offense to me. I highly recommend that each and every one of you that can go out and buy her books on Amazon. Uh, she has some amazing new books out there, and I've been enjoying the ones that I've gotten so far. If you purchased a book, rate and review. That helps push the algorithm on Amazon so that one, more people see it pop up, and it keeps it in the bestseller spot. Go back and buy her older books. Let's get those in the public eye. Our Gemma is struggling. She needs our help. She wants to go to Paraunity there in New York, and we need to help support our gal. She's created this wonderful community for us. Let's show our support for her. I know that her Cash App and information is available in the descriptions on all of the videos. Please like, subscribe, follow those links, give a donation if you can, even if it's just $1. Every little bit helps. Come and join her tomorrow night for her one card oracle readings. She'll be there at 7 p.m., 7:15 Eastern Standard Time for about 3 hours. First come, first serve. Get in line. Come stay for the chat. It's a really enjoyable time. We hang out together um, and support each other. Ghost Dragons will most likely be on Saturday night. And then look next week. Keep an eye on the schedule. Things are going to be coming up new, changing a little bit. So hopefully we'll see you all there. I'll see you in the chat tomorrow night. I send love, light, and blessings to each and every one of you. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend. And we'll see you soon. Bye bye, everyone. Love you all.